Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, we're all doing good today. You should be seeing the NAS on the screen. Let's quickly do a rundown here. What's going on? So, what I'm noting today is this wick, this tail, the upper quadrant, 75% of that on a weekly, on a daily. Still looking at this as the base. There's that wick. We trade into that wick today. We also have this down close candle, which mean threshold of that is traded as well now. Still have relative equal highs here that are way too clean. So I'm still looking at those levels and I'm still looking for price to trade up higher. I like the fact how we came down right into that level and we still are sitting inside that level. Highs are way too clean. Way too clean here. Nothing much on a 1 hour. 15, still looking at that same fair value gap. We traded down overnight. We've left all these inefficiencies open. I particularly like this inversion up here. You look at where we are currently and look at the low of this inefficiency, then that would still be enough meat on the bone to carve something out of that. Or we could look to trade into one of these inefficiencies down there to take something off, or we could target this breaker block, and that would still be enough meat on the bone to take home. There we can see that wick. I like how we traded into that, and we have been slowly gravitating higher. So I'm watching this wick. 75%. That's about that for NAS. There's your inefficiency. I'm looking at a market maker buy model in here to form potentially. The only thing that is concerning is the fact that we have relative equal lows sitting below us. That's something that I don't like, which could indicate some low probability. Looking at this high, looking at that high, relative equal highs. We did take those out. The only liquidity still left open would be these lows. If it wants to trade down there and then trade up higher. If we go over to dollar index, finally figured out how to set this thing up so I can quickly switch between the pairs here without having much trouble. So dollar, I wanted to see dollar trade down into its lows. That has still been the target for me. Nothing's changed. It's grabbed that liquidity just now. So looking at a daily, not much changed here. Still looking at this. That is a weekly level. So looking at that weekly level, we'll show it to you now. So looking at this daily fair value gap, old low to get traded to this 4 hour old low, old daily low to get traded into. We look at a weekly. There's that imbalance. We had quadrants of this imbalance here. We traded into the lower quadrant, 25%. I love how the candle bodies are sitting right below that level. We took out this 4 hour relative equal high, and these lows in here are relatively equal. And then I'm looking at this old low here, and then we have inefficiency to the left. So that's what my focus is on. Looking at the 1 hour, look how we set at that level. That is beautiful to see. Better view of those old and equal lows. Looking at a 15, I was looking at this inversion. Price traded back into that, failed to get to consequent encroachment. Lower quadrant tapped into, and it's tanked right into this liquidity here. So we'll be watching to see if it wants to draw into these lows down here. And that's basically it for dollar. Let's take a look at ES. ES, I'm basically looking at the same thing. Looking on a weekly, there's that wick. Pull the Fib on it. I'm looking at the upper quadrant, 75%. Still looking at this daily gap and fair value gap right there, overlapping. We did trade this consequent encroachment of this daily wick. I'm still looking for us to drop into this daily old high. Trade into that wick right there. Beautiful to see that. There's your 1 hour. There's the 15. Looking at that inversion up there. Trade at that level. One more time. Look at the bodies. Beautiful to see. Still looking for higher prices. So that would be ES. Have to be really quick here. It's 9:20. Take a quick look at the Dow. Nothing much has changed on Dow. Nothing much here. We did trade into this wick, this candle here. Didn't take note of that. Nothing on a weekly. Is on a daily though, so you can take note of that if you want. Still looking for these highs. Way too clean. 1 hour. 1 hour inversion. Tapped into that. Consequent encroachment. Looking to see if we can draw up higher. We had a daily order block. Let's see that daily order block right there. Pull that through. And that is your levels. Across the board, everything overall. So something that I did notice is if you look at this low and that low, we have a higher low. If you look at the same structure on ES on a 1 minute, 7 o'clock low and this low, that's an SMT. Same thing can be seen on the Dow. That is a SMT, and that should indicate that NAS isn't in a hurry to trade up higher. It's unwilling to trade back into that low again. So far we have news, the PMI coming out at the 10 o'clock hour. So I'm looking at 9:30. We're watching, looking to see if we get anything interesting. So far, pushing up higher. No model in place yet. These lows are a tad bit too clean for me. We do have a breaker block on ES, so that'll be something that we will look at. So we'll be looking at ES instead of NAS, since that does have that breaker block on there. Let's just see what the risk would be looking like here. That's about 3 handles. That's not bad. Breaker block, privilege gap down there. So the stop's likely gonna be down there. So that's about 4 handles. Quite a hefty stop on this here. Quite a big stop. 12% as usual. That's about 6.5 handles. So that is something that I would look to take. So I just did not like the fact that we didn't quite get that lower low on the NAS. We kind of got a equal bodied. If you look at NAS, you see that we have an equal body low, and to me that is just not the cleanest. So I don't want to use this as my breaker block here. So I'll opt to look at the ES for today's stream. So we're trading into that level. Now I need to see some rejection. If we do get rejection, looking at these inside of these inefficiencies, these fair value gaps, if we could trade down into that, coupled with this breaker block, and get a rejection, then that would be a possible entry long. So look at the candle bodies here. So far, no rejection. We're trading inside that first fair value gap. I don't want to see lower prices today. I am focusing on higher prices. I want to see a market maker buy model form. So my attention's not going to be on lower prices. This would be a mitigation block here on the NAS. So that would be a mitigation block with this. Since we did not get the lower low, we had a higher low. That would be a mitigation block. So I'm just going to take note of that. But it's not going to be a trade. So mitigation block. And I'll just note that in red. So far, no rejection. So that is how you sit down, you look at, you don't just take the entry right there. You have to wait and you got to see is price going to give you that rejection to confirm that entry. I like how we traded that mean threshold of that, and we're getting slight rejection. So we'll see, we'll look at that. We'll see. So we're back inside that wick, 75%. So this would be an order block. So we look at this order block. No rejection yet. So we sit on our hands and we still gotta wait. So we've already invalidated almost 3 levels. If we lose this level here, we're through that breaker block. So that this is not a good sign. It's not looking like we're gonna get this trade here. It's not gonna be a breaker block entry just yet. There you go. Now you can see what I'm actually talking about. We're inside that lower fair value gap, and it's not looking like a breaker block entry anymore. But on NQ, that mitigation is looking promising. That mitigation block, let's see what a long would look like in here. We have that mitigation block, order block. The stop would be at this low. You'd be looking for 12% higher, right about at this high. Just outlining that. So no rejection. Push down lower. No rejection. Trading along with the dollar index. Pushing lower. So far low probability. Nothing I really wanna put anything into here. There's Dow still pushing slightly lower into that 1 hour inversion. Go down to a 1 minute. There you go. See here how we trade. These are now inversions, so we look to see if price wants to get back above these or does it want to stay below these. Look at ES. NAS, look at the NAS. NAS is still hanging around at that level. There we go, pushing a lower. If NAS could grab these stops down here, if it takes out this liquidity down there. If it takes that out and it gives a forms something here for 950, then that would be something that we could potentially look at. So far, everything is out of sync here, so I really don't like this. Not liking how it's trading here at the 950 market open. Not liking how it's trading here, so definitely would not touch it. Just waiting on the sidelines, waiting here. Push it up, push down lower. Same thing here. So this idea is going to be scrapped on both pairs. There's NAS. Let me just get the NAS up again. I need to get used to this stuff now, switching between them. Here's your NAS. Dollar and ES. Dow is starting to trade higher now. I don't feel like I want to be touching anything in here yet. Don't like that. We did come back and closed above this. I just don't like this. Just sit and wait. Sit and wait here. Still pushing down lower. Look at NAS. So we're still waiting here. Nothing to take. Could draw into these equal lows down here as well. Relatively clean. These lows here, by the way. Like I said, I need to get used to this stuff switching around now all the time. US 500. We did have clean lows there, but didn't really want to see it trade lower. We do have some equal lows down here as well. We now have, if we get a candle 15, the close of this candle on the 15-minute, which it should close. This candle is 9:30. So we're gonna get in the next candle at 9:45. It closes in 11 minutes. If we get a solid close below here, then we're gonna have to start thinking about bearish ideas and price to trade down lower. That would be a higher time frame market structure shift. So then price has then proven itself to want to trade down lower. We'll have to see though. We'll have to wait and see. This might be the Judas trading down, and then we might get the real move coming, and then we might then trade up into the highs. So we're gonna have to wait. Gonna have to see what price throws on the board. So far, still pushing down a lot lower into this daily fair value gap. Remember, it's the day after the bank holidays. So let me just show that screen. Day after the bank holidays. So all the money is coming back into the marketplace, and everybody's jumping in. So we need to anticipate some tomfoolery. So I want to see people get jacked up in here. I want to see them jack up the money. and then bring the real move into play. So far, nothing that interests me at all. Don't like the fact that Dow is trading up higher, just trading against the other indices. Don't really like that. Pushing up really higher. That's what we wanted to see on US 500 and the NAS. Excuse me. So there we go. We're inside that daily fair value gap. Daily fair value gap on the NAS. Nothing on ES that interests me down here. At least not on. Nothing on a 15 that really wants to speak to me here. On a 1 hour, we do have these down close candles. We have a slight inefficiency there. Let's note this inefficiency. Let's say 1 hour fair value gap. Just gonna look at a 4 hour and see what the 4 hour is doing. Do have an inversion here. I'm gonna look at this and see how deep we've traded into this. I'll just change the color of this. It's gonna be messy, unfortunately. But I want to look at this and see how deep we have traded into that. See if we're pull that over. So consequent encroachment, we're basically trading through that now. So I'm going to keep that 4 hour inversion on the charts. And I'm going to leave this 1 hour inversion on there. On the NAS, we did trade into this daily fair value gap now. We've stabbed into it, so want to see how it trades there. Want to see if we trade deeper into this. Might have to put some quadrants on this level as well, just to see how price reacts at these different levels here. We did take out this. We're really close to taking out this low here. So that wick, we already traded through the consequent encroachment that. Want to see it at this point. I want to see it trade below this low here. So that would be something I would be looking at here. We'll just note that. Just note that low. I want to see it take that low out. It's not going to come this close and not take that low. Look at this massive wick on Dow. Stopped into this 1 hour fair gap, consequent encroachment, and it just tanked back down again. Looking at dollar's just been sitting here. It's just been consolidating here at this level. So NQ is gonna grab this low. gonna gravitate towards that. Take that low out. So if we've taken this low out, the macro 940 macro, that this macro would now be over and done with. So then we're gonna focus on the 950 to 1010, see if we have a potential trading scenario on 950 and see if they step the volatility into the marketplace earlier, or if they will drop the volatility at 10 o'clock for PMI. We'll look to see if there is a structure in place to take. And I still want to be long. I don't really want to see this thing. I don't really want to see this idea of shorts coming into play. Seasonal tendency is long for indices, and we have dollar index is bearish on your seasonal tendency. So I don't want to see a move against that right now. And on a 4 hour NAS, this is just too clean. Relative equal highs, it's way too clean. So it's all suspect to me. If it wants to take out this low, that'd be perfect. Take out all the liquidity resting below this low, and then send it higher. Take out everybody that wasn't a long. Take them all out. Induce shorts, and then take it up higher into this. So that's the narrative that I have right now, and that's so I don't want to go against that narrative yet. So there's that liquidity. Hold on, let me just get this stuff, pull this stuff in. So I don't want to go against this. I want to see price give us something to trade back up into inefficiency share. Let's see here, not much inefficiency left. Still have inefficiency here. Inefficiency there, equal highs there. It could still trade up there again, so just have to wait and see. Lots of inefficiency on the 5 minute. Just one foul down swoop here on the 15. So still patiently waiting. See ES. Let's see if we can find something on ES. Let's see here. Do we have an inefficiency down here? So small down there, though. Didn't really trade into that either, so 4 hour charts. Not seeing anything I like here. Might have to go up to a daily. Look how it's trading inside of this wick. This might be still in this upper quadrant, though. Still moving. Order block. Let's see the order block. Let me see. Look at the mean threshold of this. Get rid of this fib. Okay, so we didn't trade into it, but we are inside of that daily order block. Let's get rid of this. Where did I get that? That was a 4-hour inversion, right? Hmm. Don't really want to take it off because it is salient. I guess you guys will just have to look at it, just stare at it. 946. Just go to NAS. NAS is tapped into this 4-hour old low, into that daily fair value gap, stagnating here now. Clean this up here. There's that. Probably clean up this as well. Get this cleaned up. I think it looks a bit better. Nothing yet here. 950 macro soon. Look to see what we get in there. So far today, it's just a game of patience, really. You gotta be patient, see, wait. All the money is coming in. So I'm expecting this tomfoolery. Expecting them to throw the money around, take the stops. Gonna have to be patient, have to wait for it. Not a high probability day to be looking for a trade. It's not the best day to be looking for a trade. Day after bank holiday. So this would be a breaker block here, and time of day would, if we trade above this, time of day would get into higher time frame PDA rate. Time of day would be salient here. Let's just take a look at what the stops would be if this was something that we did decide to get involved with. So breaker block, we have a inversion there. Order block. The stop really is gonna have to be at the low, which that's a massive stop. Very, very big stop there. Not something I would take personally. Sometimes the model does present itself, but you're just not gonna be able to participate in the move because of things like maybe the stop being too big. Look at ES is trading lower, so it's not in alignment with NAS. Dow is doing the same thing, just tanking lower. So I want to see bullish prices, but I'm not going to force the market to give bullish prices to me. I'm going to be patient. Going to have to wait. One thing that I do like is the fact that we did trade into that daily order block main threshold now. So that is something that I really do like. So it's 949. Trading really messy, not getting that impulse move that I want to see away from this level and back into this. So I'm not getting that impulse move that I want to see. So this might be one where you're just not going to get that impulse move. Still just waiting. Not really feeling inclined to take something. Yes, still tanking. Dollar is actually trading, starting to push higher now. So it's stagnated. off of this 4 hour old low, starting to trade higher. So nothing is lining up here. So just gotta be patient. I really don't wouldn't take this one because of the fact that everything is out of alignment here. So that's a low probability. On a low probable day where you're not expecting high probability. Order block, look at this inversion. Look at the order block. So this is not one that I would participate in. So even if it does rally, it's not one that I would be taking. And everything else is just falling on its face. So some days you're gonna come down and you're gonna expect something, and that is not gonna end up coming to fruition, and you are gonna see something. I don't like how it's rejecting that after trading into it, rejecting that now lower. It's lost 3 levels: breaker block, order block, inversion. None of them has been respected. So to me, that says just stay out of it. It's not wanting to rally yet. At most here, it might be one of those days where it's gonna tank down, tank down, tank down, and then we could get a lunch scenario where at 11:50 to 12:10, it's gonna hunt the highs that are in place. It's gonna hunt those highs, give it a retracement before it's gonna continue with this downtrend. Look how we traded into this breaker block. See, so this would not be a breaker block unless it gets above it. So it's an order block. So look how we traded into the order block and tanked. So far still respecting bearish PDR raise. The dollar is rallying. So nothing here to take. PMI is bringing low probability into play here. If it does trade above this, then I want to see an impulse move up higher, tap back into this. And then you would be expecting longs. At least a long into this inefficiency there. Which if you look at what's in place, we have this low high, lower low, and we would have this low high, lower low. So still enough meat on the bone to carve something out. There we go. Put it back into this order block. Moved off a lower. So definitely nothing here that I would look at taking. At least not for 9:30 or 9:50 to 10:10. Just one of those days. Sometimes you sit down and there's not going to be anything for you. But what's going to happen is if you are not going to be patient enough with this, then you're going to be impulsive in environments like this, and you're going to end up taking a loss or a string of losses, and profits that you made, you then give back to the market. So That's why it's important to tape days like this. And even though you have an idea, look at this fair value gap, trade it into that, trade it down lower. Just saw that. Looks beautiful. Dollar index, fair value gap. See if it wants to go below this low. If dollar could start going trading lower, and we could get everything back in sync, then we could expect hmm to me this is like a retracement before it's gonna tank lower. I have to see though. But you also need to know how to just be patient and wait. Wait for that setup. And if it's not there that day, then you just end it off, close it, you sat down, you came to work, nothing was present. Hold on, let me just go to NAS. Come on, NAS, open up. Fair value gap. It's still respecting bearish PD arrays here. Traded up into, looks like traded up into this one. So this is acting like a breakaway gap. Institutional order flow entry drill tapped into this, and it did not get to consequent encroachment or fill the whole fair value gap. So that is a breakaway gap if it stays open. Still tanking lower. We're almost going to take this low out here. Let's just move this over because that liquidity has been taken out. Move that over. Move this over a tad bit. So sometimes you're going to come to work and there's not going to be a setup for you to take. And that is wonderful. You're not closing the day off with a loss. You're preserving your capital. But the problem comes in where you're going to get impulsive and you're going to want to push the button and you're going to end up pushing the button multiple times if you're not able to control yourself. And then you're going to go home with a blown account or a big loss. So today I got it wrong. But we're preserving capital. So this is the takeaway here. So we're not going to be impulsive. If nothing comes, we close it off. We come back another day with a higher probability. And if the setup presents itself, then we engage in that setup. So it's 9:59. We still have low, high, lower, low. I don't really like the idea of low, high, lower, low. I don't like I don't particularly really favor that idea. But that would be a valid breaker block as well. I would like to see it get above this high though and then trade back into this. That would to me that would be more more convincing if it wants to really push up all the way here and then trade higher. If you look at the ES, this is a better example here where we have a low high and a lower low. So I'm going to move this privilege gap to this breaker block here, and I'm not going to take this. So we're just going to look at this. We're not going to be putting the thing on it. So see there, it trades into it. NQ is still tanking. So nothing that we're going to take. So just looking at it. Nothing to tape read today. So NQ is going to take this 4-hour old low, which by the way, that is the second low So it's probably drawing into this inefficiency down here. So since I wanted to see bullish prices, and price has proven itself now that it wants to draw lower by closing below this and moving away from this, could still draw into this inefficiency. Hold on, let me pull this closer. It was a 4 hour fair value gap. So it's likely going to draw into that. I could still get a retracement above this high, maybe at 1050. That could be something that you could look at um, on your own. Look at price to trade above whatever high is in place at 1050. You could look at that and see if price has a foundation in place to send it higher into that level. So far, nothing here. So everything's still drawing down lower. Okay, so we're inverting this after hitting the low. Inverting this. The breaker block would be low, high, lower, low. I just don't feel like this would be something that I would take. It would just have to prove itself here. Show me that it really does want to run up higher. Getting above this high. Trading into a breaker block here or giving a different entry. So trading into this, it did respect a level. Just want to see what hypothetical stop would be. So 17% at the stop, 32 points. It's not something I would be engaging in. That's just too big of a stop for my liking. So that keeps me out of the trade anyways, even if it's a confirmed setup. Don't like the fact how NQ is showing signs of bullishness and ES still is still showing signs that it wants to continue trading down a lower. So I just don't feel confident with this. Dow is still flying down like a rocket ship. Still tanking now like a rocket ship. And dollar did trade into its next lows. So that's good. At 10, just traded it at 10. No trade here. Nothing to tape read today. We're inside of this gap. Now remember that, look, these volume imbalances, they are one of ICT's PD arrays that are, you're gonna have to be fluid at this level. Just noted this as a volume imbalance. You're gonna have to see it gravitate, be lenient on this level, and expect price to trade outside of the boundaries of this level within reasonable proximity. ES is still tanking off lower, so nothing yet. So it's 10:04. We'll take this to 10:10, and then it's gonna be a done for. I'm not gonna sit till 10:20 or 10:50 for this one. Usually the latest that I sit, if I come and sit down at the 8:30, nothing comes. It really depends on the news event that is in play when the high volatility is expected to be released. That's released at 8:30, or if I'm looking at something at 9:50, then it really depends how I will sit down, if that's going to be at 8:30, or if I don't get something at 8:30 when we have a red folder at the 8:30. So NQ is six sister now. With look at that, tanking on US 500. I expect NQ to follow suit, and dollar is just sitting sideways, just not doing anything, sitting sideways now, sitting right where it was, just consolidating. That's what it's been doing this whole time since 9:15. So how I would plan that out is, if we have something at 8:30 but price action does not present something to me with that news release or that volatility injection, then I would stay and look for something at the 9:30 opening, which a lot of times, if it doesn't present something at the 8:30 along with that volatility, it's gonna give something at 9:30, and if it does not present something at 9:30, then it's gonna give something at 9:50. If there is nothing in play, then that's just a day that you sat down, you were here to work, you did your job, and there just was not anything to get involved in, so you preserve your capital. It's important on days like those to not be impulsive and jump in, and you end up going home with a blown account or a big loss. You have to learn how to be patient. You're going to have to learn that even though you want to see something, it's the markets might not give you that idea. You're going to have to wait for the idea to show that it is in play, that price is trying to reach up higher. So like I said, most probably I'm gonna get that long inside of a 1050 to 1110 as a retracement, and then we have this high. Just take the high that's in play. So the high that's in play is this high. That is a quite a close high though, but still 27%. That is still enough to make something off. So per se, if we trade into this 4 hour fair value gap, we trade down into that, and we have a nice base down there, and price forms a model down there, then we could possibly see a trade back up into this high here. And if you just look at this, so see 46%, about 88 points. So that's not more than enough meat on the bone to carve out 5 handles or 10 handles on that retracement, on that lunch macro. So this is a day where everybody's getting tripped up. Everybody's getting tripped up. Everybody that was in any sort of a long got tripped up, gone down lower, cleared out these lows, cleared out this low. Everybody that was long is now taken out of the marketplace. So we have a lot of people that are in here that's short. A lot of people are going to go short in this. So a lot of sellers in here. So I want to see some buy stops be taken out. So that's what I want to see targeted. On a day like this, after a bank holiday, expect price to not be the cleanest. Expect price to take out the liquidity. Take out the liquidity or clear both sides of the marketplace. So everybody that wasn't a long, holding that long, they got taken out. All the big players got taken out here. All these lows had lots of liquidity down here. Lots of liquidity. all taken out. So the only people that are profitable are those that are in shorts now. So that's what I'm waiting for. That's what we are waiting for. So it's 10:10. So for your own studies, you would look for that lunch macro to give a possible retrace to a high that is in place. And if a setup presents itself, then we will do a review on that. The next stream will be next week. So I'll see, and then decide how to approach that. If we're going to be approaching that just in next week's live stream, just go over that, or if I will post a video and go over that. We'll just have to see. But so for this one, no tape read today. No, nothing here. No setup. Nothing I would have taken. I just want to take a look at the. It's not even worth it to take a look at 8:30 because just nothing happened 8:30. Just nothing salient happened here. Nothing happened at 8:30. So I just would not be. I wouldn't have been inclined to take anything in here. Nothing here. We just had this retracement consolidation going up higher. So nothing interesting here. 850. Mm, still nothing interesting in that range. I would have waited for price to get outside of this range and then do something. It's taking the lows. I said if it takes the lows, then I want to see it trading higher. If it ends up taking a low, it's not done that. It's just tanked. So it's just one of those days where it's not going to get a setup here today. So we have preserved capital. We've been patient. Even though I said yes, I wanted to see bullish prices, I have not forced my will on the market and taken setups, been impulsive, and ended it with a loss. We're just ending today with preserving capital, not taking any positions, preserving manual capital, sitting on the sidelines, waiting for a higher probability day to come and be presented to us where the setup presents itself. And we can clearly see that and then take that setup. So hopefully you have found this one insightful. And until we speak again, be safe.